here today outside the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, to highlight the plight of Palestinian journalists targeted by the illegal Israeli occupation. This year, Israel has shot 9 Palestinian journalists, killing 2 of them. One of them, Mudassim Sukef, was shot just yesterday. He was shot twice. Luckily, he survived. So our placards, which were made before he was shot, are wrong. It's not 8, but 9 Palestinian journalists shot this year. Israel has also imprisoned a further 32 journalists, including 5 women, due to their unfavorable reporting of the illegal occupation. We are here to ask the BBC why they are silent when fellow journalists in Palestine are targeted like this. One of these imprisoned journalists is Lama Khater, a mother of 5 children. Her articles have been critical of both the Israeli occupation and the Palestinian Authority, which under its security agreement with Israel helps enforce the occupation. This has resulted in both the Israeli occupation and the Palestinian Authority threatening her, demanding she stop her journalism. A week before her arrest, her husband, Hassan al-Fakhouri, a fellow journalist, was summoned by the Israeli forces. They warned him that his wife would be arrested if she didn't stop her critical writing. He was asked what was the age of their youngest son Yahya and if his wife was still breastfeeding him. Israeli law allows a child under 2 years old who is still being breastfed to accompany his mother to prison when she is arrested. Yahya was a couple of months older than 2 years. 3 days later, on the 20th of July, Lema's latest article was published on the subject of Israel trying to starve the people of Gaza in retaliation for the Great Return March protests by partially closing the Karam Abu Shalim border crossing, the only entry point for food into Gaza. 4 days later, at 2 a.m. in the morning of 24th of July 2018, Israeli soldiers raided Lema's house in occupied Al-Khalil, Hebron. Before they dragged her away in their military transport, Lema insisted on hugging her son Yahya goodbye. Lema's daughter Bisan recalls, "My mother kissed each one of us goodbye and advised us to take care of each other." The Israeli soldiers took her to the illegal settlement of Kiryat Araba and brutally interrogated her for 5 hours till 7 a.m. when she was moved to Ashkelon Interrogation Center, where her interrogation continued. She was shackled to a chair the whole time, denied sleep, and constantly cursed and shouted at by the Israeli interrogators non-stop for 10 hours at a time, day after day. When she wouldn't break, the interrogators asked for her detention to be extended, which the military judge agreed to at her hearing on the 26th of July. Her lawyer, finally being able to see her briefly, filed an appeal against the extension. She was still being held without any charge. That appeal was rejected by Orwell military court on the 30th of July. Lema was still denied family visits. Her 2-year-old son, Yahya, missing his mother, came to the appeal hoping to catch a glimpse of her, but the soldiers spitefully refused him entry. He went home without being allowed to see his mother. Today, Lema is still being caged without charge, shackled at the mercy of Israeli interrogators.
In March 2018, around 60 filmmakers, including Mike Lee, Ken Loach, and Peter Kosminski, in an open letter, condemned Israel's targeting of Palestinian journalists. The letter read, on April the 6th, Palestinian cameraman Yasser Mortaja was killed by an Israeli sniper as he filmed the Great March of Return in Gaza. On that same day, 6 other photojournalists wearing press jackets were injured by the Israeli military. Since then, photographer Ahmed Abu Hussein has been shot dead. This is not an anomaly. Last year, Israeli forces assaulted 139 journalists and detained a further 33. In 27 cases, they destroyed or sabotaged their equipment. They closed down 17 media outlets. Palestinian journalists and filmmakers are thus victims of systematic persecution based on their ethnicity. Both Yasser Mortaja and Ahmed Abu Hussein were wearing blue protective vests marked "Press" in large capital letters, clearly identifying them as journalists when they were shot by Israeli snipers. Ahmed was even wearing a helmet, clearly marked TV. It seems these identifiers were used by the Israeli snipers to pick them up to kill. Both Reporters Without Borders and Human Rights Watch have declared that Israel's deliberate attacks on Palestinian journalists amounts to war crimes.
In June 2018, the Israeli Knesset passed the first reading of a new law, which forbids journalists and ordinary residents from filming and documenting human rights abuses committed by Israeli soldiers. The new law allows the army to abduct and imprison those who film these crimes for up to 5 years. If they are Palestinian, then they can be imprisoned for 10 years. The law was drafted after a film emerged of Israeli soldiers cheering and celebrating after shooting an unarmed Palestinian youth with a sniper rifle on the Gaza border. Ironically, the film from the sniper's telescopic sight was taken by a soldier as a trophy of the kill. Israel's defense minister, Avigdor Lieberman, defended the sniper, saying the sniper deserves a medal for doing his job, but the photographer deserves a court-martial. He added, the truth must be clear. The IDF is the most moral army in the world, but when you are at the front and facing tense situations, sometimes you let out those tensions. 2 weeks ago, on the 17th of July 2018, the Israeli Knesset passed the first reading of its so-called Facebook bill, which will allow the authorities to order Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google Search and other internet platforms to remove content which could harm the state of Israel, including economic harm, like espousing a boycott of Israel.
Since September 2015, over 500 Palestinians, including women and children, have been arrested simply because Israel didn't approve of their social media posts. This week, on Tuesday the 31st of July 2018, Israel sentenced 36-year-old Palestinian poet Dareen Tatar to 5 months imprisonment and a further 6 months suspended sentence for her poem titled Resist, My People Resist Them, which she posted on social media. She has already served nearly 3 years under house arrest after police raided her home in October 2015 and dragged her away. She was banned from publishing her works and banned from accessing the internet altogether. The Writers' Association, PEN, condemned the verdict as an unacceptable attack of freedom of expression. An unacceptable attack on freedom of expression. A poem is not a crime. The group's international president, Jennifer Clement, said, Doreen Tator has been convicted for doing what writers do every day. We use our words to peacefully challenge injustice. Doreen Tator was convicted for her poem, Resist My People, Resist Them. It reads, Resist my people, resist them. In Jerusalem, I dressed my wounds and breathed my sorrows and cried the soul in my palm for an Arab Palestine. I will not succumb to the peaceful solution, never lower my flags, until I evict them from my land. I cast them aside for a coming time. Resist my people, resist them. Resist the settlers' robbery and follow the caravan of martyrs. Shred the disgraceful constitution which imposed degradation and humiliation and deterred us from restoring justice. They burned blameless children. As for Hadil, they sniped her in public, killed her in broad daylight. Resist my people, resist them. Resist the colonialist onslaught. Pay no mind to his agents among us, who chain us with this peaceful illusion. Do not fear doubtful tongues. The truth is in your heart is stronger. As long as you resist in a land that has lived through raids and victory, so called Ali from his grave, resist my rebellious people. Write me as a prose on the Argowood. My remains have you as a response. Resist my people, resist them. Resist my people, resist them.
We are here to demand freedom for Doreen Tator. Free Doreen Tator!
Free Doreen Tator!
It is shameful how the BBC is silent whilst Israel bombs, kills, abducts, cages, tortures, and censors Palestinian journalists, writers, and poets. Through their silence, the BBC shields Israel's war crimes against Palestinian journalists and thereby contributes towards their suffering. Shame on the BBC!
Shame on the BBC!
Shame on the BBC!
Shame on the BBC!
The British public, through its TV license, pay the salaries of the BBC, not the Israeli government. We are here to tell the BBC that it is totally unacceptable that they serve Tel Aviv's agenda rather than report the news. Shame on the BBC!